everybody, welcome back. You are listening to Joygasm, a video game and movie podcast. I'm Russ, Xbox Live Toasters 360. He is Steve, Xbox Live Stevavitch. And we've switched off our targeting computer in episode 194 today, October 10th, 2020. We're going to be catching up with each other before we're going right into our topic of the day, which is Star Wars Squadron gameplay impressions, which you can fast forward to if you look at the timestamps located in the detailed section of your podcast provider below. Steve, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you. Ross, it's a beautiful day outside.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
A beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Hey, quit singing over there. Someone throws a brick in the
window. Oh, some peace and quiet.
Yeah. Shut up with all that racket over there.
Man. No, I love when the seasons change. You know, summer is great for summertime things. The sun stays up a little longer and you know, everyone's outside a bit longer. It's warm, but when the seasons change and it kind of mellows out a little bit and cools off, leaves start to change colors. Something to appreciate about that, right?
Absolutely, I concur, good sir.
So, how was your week, Russ? What's going on?
Well, my week was quite busy, actually. I had a lot of stuff going on.
Did you?
With work and everything else, but I also had a lot of fun with doing certain things, you know, as it applies to watching movies and playing games, too.
Yeah.
So, definitely am continuing with my Legends of Runeterra escapades, which is nice. I did get a little perturbed the other day, though, as I was playing it, because the AI is noticeably harder.
Yes.
We've talked about this before.
Right.
I understand. But there are certain times, like, to give you an idea, the other day I had a round against the AI where the AI completely and unequivocally spanked me. Where, like, I literally only took, like, 1 point off its nexus. It took everything off of mine, had a full roster of characters on their side. I had, like, maybe one half the time on mine. I mean, you know, you see the big thing that says defeat that come up, and you're just like, you know, that was kind of messed up. Like, what? I can get past, like, okay, sometimes you can get just a bad luck of the draw, right? This was just ridiculous. Like, I had like nothing but like little like 1 power attack cards, and I couldn't get anything to work right or whatever. And I mean, it was literally like I could almost feel the AI laughing at me. It was the funniest thing.
Well, I think the AI gives up sometimes too when it knows you are spanking it.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I'm like, yeah, bring it on. And it gets to a point where like I have all my good cards out now. It's probably taken me the entire game to actually build up what I'm going to play. And then I want to make sure that I'm actually doing the objective so I get the extra experience so I can get some loot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll purposefully not go ahead and win so I can extend the game to make sure I play certain cards, to defend certain cards, target other cards, whatever, right? And so, and then like the AI goes, okay, I get it. Like, and sometimes it won't even take a turn. Like it'll choose its card and it'll put it out there. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. And then it'll go, it's your turn again. I'm like, interesting. And so, but then by the end of the game where I go, okay, I'm almost out of cards. I've probably done what I've needed to do. I'll go ahead and spank him. And then it'll be like -48 on his end. Blah! So, no, it's
more power.
You just need more power. That was Griff from Back to the Future.
No, not Griff. It was one of Griff's little sidekicks.
That's right.
Those things don't work on water unless you got power. And then Griff like looks at him and goes, strip on.
I laughed a little bit too hard until I turned into a cough. Whew. Okay.
I always thought that baseball bat he had was just, man, that looked like a brutal weapon right there.
Man.
The sizable. Remember how he could like extend the length or shorten it behind his back?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those movies.
Golly. So speaking of movies, Russ, I've been thinking a little bit. You know, I'm thinking on the porcelain throne a little bit too much.
Hey, it's the only time where you too can become the thinking man statue.
Regarding Disney Plus, remember how I said I wasn't going to get it?
I do declare.
Well, I haven't got it yet, but
I am not surprised.
what I was thinking is, if I know there's talks about Disney buying out what Netflix's Marvel stuff, like they're thinking of like purchasing it from Netflix, putting it on Disney Plus, and then continuing the series.
Oh, like just the Netflix original series,
like
or
Luke
whatever?
Cage, Jessica Jones,
yeah.
whatnot. So I'm thinking, Russ, if they do that and they bring Daredevil over, I'll get Disney Plus.
Oh,
They bring Daredevil over.
Well, I do think that you would be well served if you got that platform. I have been trying to convince you now for a while.
It's a good series.
I am a believer in the Disney Plus. Although I will say that my wife actually made it known to me that she was reading some sort of news article about how they are in fact going to be, I don't even know what basically like having like not removing certain content, but like adopting a style where they have content on there for a while, and then they take it away, and then they bring it back again, and like kind of rotating.
Like Netflix does that.
It kind of sort of like that, but see, Netflix, I think, because most of their content is licensed, I don't know how often, like when they pull something away, like how long it is before that particular movie makes a return. And my hope is that if that is accurate regarding Disney Plus, if they decide to do that, which by the way, I think is a bad idea, because that's part of like the initial interest of wanting Disney Plus, is that you have all of these Disney properties on demand. Like you don't have to play this game of, which one is available, which one's not. But if they do that, then I would hope that they would do it in like, say, 3 or 6 month increments, right? Like you pull something away for 3 months, then you bring it back again after 3 months, or something to that effect. I can get behind something like that. Ideally, though, I'm not a fan of that model at all when it comes to owning your own content, because Disney owns all of these properties. So there's no reason for them to do that.
Oh, I know Netflix does it, but didn't Disney also purchase? They purchased all of Fox or some of Fox?
So they purchased most of Fox. Like essentially what they did was they went after 20th Century Fox,
right?
As well as I guess that also covers the television side as well. But yeah, essentially all of their entertainment properties. So they didn't go after like Fox News. I don't think they went after what was the other Fox oriented maybe Fox Searchlight. I don't remember if they got that, but essentially like all of the major movie properties, like I think Avatar is on there and Aliens.
I remember when we used it for that little bit of time, I didn't see a whole lot of Fox stuff there, which maybe I was searching for the wrong thing. Maybe they had a tab for Fox movie. I don't know. But I when we were searching, I just really didn't see a whole lot of.
I think what they were doing was they were still in the process of releasing content because the deal was so fresh. Because when I go on there now, I mean, I see Family Guy, I see The Simpsons, I see Futurama. I mean, there's a ton of television stuff that was always known to be a Fox property. It is now on Disney Plus, so that is really great, and especially when it comes to the movie side of things too. I mean, I think that was a pretty. Oh, the other thing that they didn't get was Fox Business. That was the other one that I was trying to remember. So Fox Business and Fox News, they didn't go for more of the newsy side of things. They were only interested in the entertainment properties.
Gotcha.
I have a statue, Steve.
I know you have like 20 statues.
I might even have more than that, Steve. I'm not exactly sure.
That was a round number.
But I got one this week, actually.
Benjamin Franklin?
No. Not Thomas Jefferson either. So this is if I remember correctly, I think this is the first X-Men statue, Steve. Oh. Now, this particular scale is 1/10.
Jubilee?
No. Oh. You know what? Go ahead. Let's see if you can guess which one it is.
Nightcrawler, Russ?
Nope. Yeah, they haven't made that one yet, Steve.
Beast?
No.
Oh.
This is good. This is good. I'm enjoying this because I want to see you dust off the cobwebs.
Wolverine?
No.
Iceman?
No. I wish you guys could see his face. No.
Gambit?
No.
Professor X.
No. Think back to
Archangel.
Nope.
Oh, man.
This one is not a
Morph. Bishop.
Nope. But you're okay. I will give you a clue. You are in the right direction with that name.
What? Bishop? Rook.
No. Pawn.
Cable.
Very good. Yes! That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was like 13 episodes ago that you were telling me like, I'm gonna get Cable. He's got a big gun. He's got a knife. Always gotta keep your trusty, not dusty knife.
Well, that's a knife. So yeah, this is by Iron Studios, and gotta be careful though when you lift it up there, Steve.
I'm gonna lift him up by his ear.
But anyway, so this is part of a diorama, and this is one of the what like I think they're calling it like an extension piece or something to that effect. But anyway, the idea behind it is that they are going for a 90s version of the characters. So back when Jim Lee was doing the comics, they want to recreate the look of all of the characters during that time frame. So this one was a con exclusive that Iron Studios came out with. And for those of you that have not heard of Iron Studios, they are based in Brazil, actually. And they've been there for several years. And this is the first Iron Studios statue that I've gotten. Normally I collect quarter scale or 1/3 scale size statues, but I took a chance on this and I really dig it. I think it's a cool size because it's not so huge it takes up all the space. But the idea behind this is, remember the videos that we were looking at a month or two ago that showed those Sentinel dioramas where it had those huge Sentinels? This is part of that overall diorama. So you know, if you were to get the 3 Sentinels that have all the mayhem and stuff going on when they're attacking the Xavier School for the Gifted, this is one of those characters that you can get. That's it's almost like a, what do you call it? Like a peripheral piece almost. So really, really cool. I was very happy with the detail. I don't know if you could tell in the low lighting where we're at right now, but the detail on his clothes, his vest, the pouches, everything, like you could see the stitching and everything. I mean, it's really cool. If you look at his boots, there's a lot of detail with like dirt and stuff that's on the bottom. What's really nice too is that if you notice, there's a smoke grenade that's gone off.
Oh yeah.
Do you recognize who threw that, Steve?
Deadpool.
Very good. And there is a Deadpool 1/10 scale that just got released as well. I definitely would like to get that. So you can tell that they are being thoughtful with these different pieces by adding in little components like that. So then it ties everything together when you get the other pieces. So this is a lot of fun because obviously we know that Deadpool has kind of a funny relationship with Cable. He's always messing with him and that sort of thing. And Cable is so stoic, and you know, he's from the future where like apparently there's a lot of craziness going on, and so he's a very serious man.
Yeah, no joking with Cable. Yeah, no, it's good. I like the detail in his muscles with the cybernetic arm.
Yeah,
It's pretty good. I like it.
Nice meaty weaponry. You know, if you're Cable, you gotta have like just those like over the top, insanely huge, futuristic guns,
and more than one.
Yeah, you must have it. And I appreciate the knee pads too. Those are some like proper knee pads for being able to get into a position to fire off something that probably has the kickback of 10 mules.
Yeah, that's good. So he's got his knife in one hand. I'm just going to kind of describe it to you. So he's on a piece of concrete. He's stepping off another like block or something. And the concrete is actually like stonework. So if you think of like stone, like flat stone, like like a flat stone street or cobblestone. And so he's looking like you'd expect him to look. He's got his standard attire on. He's got his headpiece. He's got his knife. He's got on the shoulder pad. He's got some extra grenades. So on the other hand, though, and the opposite hand, I guess it'd be his left hand. He has like his assault rifle / grenade launcher. That's why it's pretty darn big. He's got a front grip on it, very large magazine, and on the back he's got. I mean, I guess that's some sort of Oh, you know what gun it is, man? Oh, what? I remember he gave Bishop some gun to take out one of those futuristic. I want to say it was Nimrod.
Oh,
it's a shotgun, but it's like not just like a futurist. It's more than just a shotgun. But anyway, I wonder if that's that gun. Anyway, it could be a sniper rifle too. But anyway, something in very large and in charge. He has on his back, and then he got his pistol on the right, which is where it should be.
Handy dandy, trusty, over the top. I mean, that makes a Desert Eagle .50 look like a little squirt gun.
Yeah, that's a large pistol.
Yes.
So anyhow, and then of course, like we just said, we got the grenade, but the way they made the smoke come out is actually a very nice touch. Like it looks like it's, you know, when you toss a grenade or a smoke grenade, like how it's trying to get the smoke out as quick as possible. It's not like a little, but it's a like it's really trying to do its job. That's what you kind of see here. It's pushing out that smoke. And the smoke is starting. They really did a good job on the smoke, actually. I like it.
Do you notice too, in between the cracks of the rocks on the base, there's like kind of a mossy texture that's growing through the cracks. I thought that was a nice touch.
Right in the like the grout areas, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of like a grass or mossiness to it. I think that looks really nice. So yeah, they have a growing suite of these X-Men characters that are all part of this diorama. What's really nice is that you don't have to get the huge Sentinels if you don't want to. You can actually just buy these characters on an individual basis, even the ones that come with the Sentinels. And I think the latest character that they announced was Silver Samurai. So that was another character that if you're a Wolverine fan, you're going to instantly know who that character is. But I mean, I've been really impressed with their dedication to this line so far in terms of what has been coming out. All of the characters look terrific. I took a chance on this. I'm really glad I did because I wasn't sure about like if the paint application or the detail would hold up because this is a smaller scale. Typically, the smaller the scale, it kind of gets more challenging to be able to show off that kind of detail. But I was very happy with this. I think the color looks great. I think the little details, especially if you look at it close up and you take the time under proper lighting, I'm very happy. And this is way cheaper than the larger statues, of course. So looking forward to it. And as you know, Steve, my favorite X-Man is Nightcrawler. They have not made a Nightcrawler, and I've been on the statue forums. There are many people like myself who are big Nightcrawler fans, and we're all just like, where is Nightcrawler?
What's the deal?
Yeah, like why is there no representation for Nightcrawler?
You know what would be kind of cool if they did do him though. You know when Nightcrawler would go out around the town, he would have that trench coat on. It'd be neat if they had his trench coat, but like kind of coming off, like if he was taking it off in a way, and so you could see his X-Men outfit underneath the trench coat. But if they kind of hit it like he had a hood on or something like that, you could see his tail coming out.
Yeah.
I think that'd be neat.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. I really dig it a lot. So.
I don't know if they could somehow incorporate like him about to teleport, really, but I don't know. I really know how they would do that. Or maybe smoke, because I know sometimes he would poof.
Yeah, that would be a fun idea too on the piece where like perhaps like on like one side of the base you'd have like his Banff type of teleportation cloud that's like poof, and then you see him appearing on this side of the base. I think that'd be pretty fun.
I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, very very nice. I have still failed to get an Xbox Series X pre-order. I
haven't even looked, to be honest. I got so much other stuff going on in my life. I mean, I want one. And I've heard they've given like some samples out to some of the bigger YouTube creators and who have absolutely wonderful, like good news to report, which is wonderful. But yeah, I haven't even looked, don't be honest. After that first day, I thought, man, too much of life is happening right now. I can't
Funny
do
how
this.
life happens, huh?
Man.
Yeah, I was actually looking around and I discovered that Costco, of all places, had very briefly Xbox Series X is available for pre-order on their website. Cool. But of course, they sold out. As soon as that news broke out, everybody went to the Costco website. They're sold out again. What's interesting is that certain places like Target or Walmart, not necessarily GameStop, but there seems to be times where all of a sudden they will get more in. And I don't know if it's because they're getting more stock or because certain people who pre-ordered realize they can't afford it, so they have to cancel their pre-order. So you're seeing the button of the pre-order flicker on and off at times. Like it's kind of like luck of the draw, where like you go to the website and you're like, oh, it's available, and you click on it and then you're able to actually get it. So who knows? But I thought I would give everybody an update as to the hunt is still afoot.
Speaking of Xbox, I know I'm kind of chiming in on your
No, just good.
that's kind of a blend of your and both our weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it's dawned on me that I haven't played my Xbox in a very long time.
Oh, you have been playing lots of PS4.
I have playing a ton of PS4. My Xbox my Xbox Live subscription has canceled.
Uh-oh.
And I haven't noticed. Well, what I was doing...
This is no bueno.
So what I was doing was I was buying those... it's like the whole entire year. You can buy a year's worth of Xbox Live on a card, and you just put in the code, and there you have it. Well, I did that, and more than a year has passed, and since I haven't logged on to the Xbox in such a long time, Russ... I logged on because I didn't know if maybe I'll get Star Wars on Xbox. Maybe I'll get it on PlayStation. I'm not really sure. And so then I logged on, and it just had like the very, very blank dashboard. Like, what's going on here? And it says, a message from Xbox. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, we haven't had payment from you in a while. And we've also stopped, of course, your Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because you have to have Xbox Live to have Game Pass. And I'm like, I don't have Game Pass anymore. And so the games are still on my little external hard drive, of course, but I cannot play them without. So I mean, they've thought of that. Like if you go, oh, I got the games, I'm going to cancel. No, they know, they know that you have to have the service in order to play the games, because that's pretty much why they give you the games for free with the subscription. But I will have to reactivate my...
So you didn't reactivate it right then and there?
No.
Stevie, it's only like 60 smackers.
I know that, right? Some of us got a lot of stuff to buy.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
okay.
Some of us need breaks.
Some of us need gas.
Some of us need milk and vegetables.
Yes, eating probably trumps the... Xbox Live.
Entertainment.
Entertainment, yes. So, of course, this goes without saying, we both played Star Wars Squadrons, which we'll talk to
in a little bit.
In just a bitty bit. I ended up watching Avengers Infinity War again, and it wasn't... I don't remember the last time it was that I had sat down and watched that film. Man, that is a good film.
You know, I haven't watched that since I saw it in the theater.
You really should watch it again, because like for me, this time when I sat down to watch it, it sounds silly, but I forgot the sheer volume of actors that are in that film. And not only that, but the sheer volume of quality AAA actors in that film. And I cannot stop like just fanboying out over the notion that Kevin Feige did such a great job with the casting side of things. Like you could tell like one of the pillars of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was to actually hire people who are normally known for like dramas, right? Or perhaps other types of action adventure roles. But it wasn't like they hired a bunch of folks you never heard of before. And there is a place for that. Don't get me wrong. But it was amazing to see that this I mean, it was literally like an assembly of all kinds of actors who I've enjoyed performances from over the years. And it was, to me, it's such a miracle that they were able to pull that off over that 10-year period as they continued to build the world and everything else, and it came to this point. And Thanos is such a fantastic villain. My goodness. I mean, like, I've seen this movie several times now. I don't even know how many times I've seen it. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, man, this is a good movie.
Well, I think it really plays to the importance of the villain in a movie, because if you just have a big, mean baddie, then he's not very interesting. I mean, anybody can think of a mean person or a bully who's strong and powerful, but to have actually a great level of intelligence and smarts and motivation and, a ton of other stuff behind him makes him have screen presence where you want to see actually the villain on screen literally as much as you want to see your beloved heroes on screen. That is really important.
It is. It very much is. And of course, the movie is in 2 parts. You have Infinity War and then Endgame. And I think we're both in agreement that we both preferred Infinity War just overall. I mean, obviously it's basically like one big long movie because it stops there and then goes on. But in terms of if I were to look at just the fun factor and the overall cinematic spectacle of things, man, Infinity War, it takes off right away and doesn't let up. And by the end of it, you're just like, man, oh, it was awesome.
By the way, I don't know if I've told you this. Remember when they were having those marathons at the theater where they were playing like all My wife works with somebody who went to one.
No way.
And she spent 3 days at the theater. Oh my God. And my wife asked her, like, well, you have to shower and brush your teeth. She goes, well, you bring wipes and some other stuff, maybe to brush your teeth. But yeah, you don't leave. You you might go to your car to sleep a little bit, but
I don't know if I could do that. The extent of what I did was I remember taking my wife to it was when Batman Dark Knight Rises was released, and they had this special like one night preview night thing where they actually played all 3 films back to back. That was fun. I really liked that, but I gotta say after watching the 3rd movie, I was like, okay, I need a break.
I need some sunshine.
Yeah, I need to get up. I need to do something else and stuff. That was reaching my limit, and so I don't know if I could. I don't think I could do like 3 days straight worth of being in a theater. That's just, maybe if I was like 15 or something, I might be able to pull that off. I don't know, but anywho, and yeah, just to wrap up the week, I was playing more Animal Crossing with my daughter. I was playing more Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 is a great game. Man, that game's good.
My wife wants us to get a Switch just so she can play Mario Kart.
Well, I think the Switch is what, $200?
I don't know how much it is, but I thought we would look at it over Black Friday. Maybe we'll get it for an anniversary gift for us. A late anniversary or Christmas. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, just so you know, Switches are very hard to find. It's amazing how Nintendo just print money. It doesn't matter if it's the games they make or it's the systems they create. But the Switch was pretty easy to find for a while there earlier in the year. But then once coronavirus hit, then all of a sudden, like everybody started buying Switches, as well as other gaming systems. Makes perfect sense because everybody's trying to shelter in place and whatnot. But yeah, I would say good luck on looking for that. You might want to check out the local GameStop, see if they have any by chance, or look online. And it might be that perhaps you could have some luck that is a bit more fortunate than the Xbox Series X or PS5. So you'll have to let me know if you find one and if you purchase it. But is there anything else? I know I've been babbling on here with all kinds of different things that have transpired over the week. Do you have anything that you'd like to mention?
My week has been filled with Star Wars for the most part, but not really. No, I've been playing a lot of Star Wars, and I've been playing Squadrons. Sorry, Squadrons. And I mean, I think I dabbled in a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. What I have not played though was Avengers. After we did our impressions of Avengers, I put it down for a while. And I was grateful to actually pick up Ghost of Tsushima again, not feel guilty because I was playing.
Have you beaten that game yet?
What? No.
Oh my goodness.
I've been playing other stuff for the show, right? Work-related stuff.
Well, I beat the game before Star Wars Squadrons came out, Steve. I don't understand why
you
haven't.
Because, if you remember, which I'm sure you don't.
Who are you again?
Yeah. So you were playing when Avengers came out. You're like, we got to get the game and we're going to review it and, we'll have a show on it. I'm like, okay, right. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the game up and I'll play nothing but Avengers until we do the show. And then I'm playing Avengers and then like Twitch night comes like, hey, have you been playing it? I'm like, yeah. Haven't you? He goes, no, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. So you have like an extra whole week on me just playing that. So anyway, that's my excuse, Russ. I've been putting other games in between Ghost of Tsushima to review on the show, and that's why I haven't had dedicated enough time.
I see. Well, is there anything else aside from Star Wars that you've been doing this week, Steve?
I don't think there is, Russ. I think God about does it.
Well, strap into your cockpit of choice. It's time for the topic of the day. Our topic of the day is Star Wars Squadrons gameplay impressions. This game was released earlier this week, and this is a title that I, for one, have been looking forward to, and I've been really curious about in terms of how it stacks up against some of the classic PC shooters like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and so forth.
Aerial assault.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
So we were able to sit down with this. I ended up purchasing it on PC, and Steve ended up getting it on PS4. And so we were able to check out kind of the differences between the two. And so I'm curious with you, Steve. So this developer Motive is the one who is behind this particular title. I'm wanting to know what you think of the game so far.
So the game so far, you know, it's fun, but it's not. It's everything they said it was going to be, but nothing more and nothing less. Pretty much.
Very much focused on space dogfighting.
Right. I will say there is some pros and cons that I have definitely seen thus far. But I am having fun with it. There is. What do you think of the cutscenes? Because to me, like the cutscenes, to me, not the spaceship stuff where you see all the different ships fly by.
Not like the hangars or anything.
No. The hangar stuff is what I'm talking about.
Oh.
The hangar scenes, like when you have the dialogue with everybody. What do you think of that stuff? Because to me, that's just like a big waste of time.
So I think, okay, so first of all, I like him. I like the hangar sequences just because it gives you time to be out of the cockpit. You're not always in a TIE Fighter or an X-Wing.
Sure.
Which, by the way, I think we're just pecking the surface. I think they actually have like A-Wings and B-Wings, like several other types of spacecraft that we just haven't gotten to yet. But to answer your question, so one of the things that I've heard from a few friends who have the game and also have VR, so like, you know, Oculus Rift or whatever, they say that the game is best played on a PC with VR. I don't have Oculus Rift. I don't have VR yet. Maybe at some point, maybe for Christmas or something, maybe I'll pick it up. But I can tell that those sequences are optimized for the virtual reality experience where you can't really move, you can't walk around within the hangar itself.
Right.
But you know, in a game like this, which obviously it's not an action adventure title, it's not something where you have a character and you're going and you're doing things that you would do like in Horizon Zero Dawn, for example. I think that it works great because it gives you a slice of the world that you're in, whether it's the Empire or it's the Rebel Alliance, and everything is done really well. I mean, like all the environments, the props, the characters, all the background action that's going on, especially on PC. Like, I think that was the biggest notice that I had was I checked it out on PS4 and then I went back to the PC again. The PC version, man, everything looks super crispy and detailed. I was really impressed by that. It was a little jarring in the sense that I'm just accustomed to walking around when I'm in an environment like that. Like, I just, through muscle memory, I was just like, oh, okay, I'm done talking to that person. Oh, let me go walk over to my X-Wing, but you can't do that. So that was a little bit of like, oh, okay, I got to recalibrate my expectations when it comes to different scenes like this. But I appreciate being able to talk to the characters for a little bit and see what's going on, be able to receive your mission briefings. So I have some more comments on that, which I'll get to in a minute. But keep going.
So I bought it for just the regular PS4 because that's what I have. And it seems like it was made with the better systems in mind, which again is absolutely fine because when I upgrade, I'm sure it's going to play a ton better than it plays right now.
So I have to interject really quickly. I found out that the loading times are probably going to be better on the new systems, but as of this moment, Motive has not optimized the game to take advantage of the PS5 or Xbox Series X architecture. I hope that's something that they will do in the future, but at this point in time, I think they've even come out and said how they don't have any current plans to do so, which I find a little concerning because it's like, okay, you just released the game.
Yeah, we're only months away.
And this is a glowing opportunity to be able to, make your game look as good as possible on those next gen systems. So it may very well be that you're playing a game that is a bit more optimized in terms of the loading times, but in terms of the graphical fidelity, it's gonna look pretty much the same, unfortunately.
Well, and it looks fine, but like for example, certain cutscenes when you see the ships fly by, mine will be choppy. It'll be smooth at some points and then choppy on other points.
Really?
Yes. And another part that it might be my controller, but I highly doubt it because the controller came from you and you're not necessarily rough with your stuff.
No, I baby my stuff.
And I'm actually very rough, but I've been very gentle with my PlayStation.
You're so abusive toward your helpless little controllers.
Anyhow, it's my controller's fault when I'm losing. It's just stupid. So anyhow, R3 is how you look around the cockpit. I push R3 and I'm trying to look around the cockpit and I can't.
Well, not when you're flying because then R3 turns into, literally you turning.
Well, no, R3, you can push in R3 and generally that's another command. Like for example, L3, if you push it in, it's boost. And so you can, So when you push in R3, you're supposed to push it in and look around and you're supposed to look around the cockpit.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that I thought that the left thumbstick. So when you push it forward, you speed up. When you pull it back, then you slow down.
Yeah.
If you're in like the X-Wing fighter, if you click it, then you get that boost, that temporary boost of really fast forward motion. But I didn't realize that you could still look around the cockpit. I thought that was only when you were in the launch bay and you hadn't actually started flying yet, that then you could look. Because that's what I did. Is I could look around and go, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, in the launch bay, I can. And that's what's funny is I can look about the cockpit in the launch bay and go, okay, that's what that looks like. Cool. When you're in flight, the left stick either accelerates you, slows you down, or turns or rolls you one direction or rolls you the other direction.
Yep.
The right stick turns you right, turns you left, pulls you up, pulls you down.
Pitch and yaw.
Yeah, exactly. Pitch and yaw. So, but that's it. So I cannot look. So for me, I am in this static image of the cockpit. I can't look up and see who's above me. I can't look to the left. I can't look to the right. I have to turn. So for me, that is a huge drawback because if I'm flying and I go, oh, someone's over there, and I can't look out there. All I'm looking is straight. It's like I have these horse blinders on. Like I can only see what's in front of me and that's it. And I thought that was a huge drawback. And I thought, okay, well, maybe there's another perspective. Like I can pull out of my ship and just, see, from like a behind the view sort of thing, like third person. And there's not that either.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I was trying to, mess with the buttons to see if I could mistakenly happen upon it.
But I've seen other people who have the PC version. There is a way for you to look about the cockpit and you can see all the environments are probably the best part of the entire game.
Yeah.
The environments are gorgeous. That's been my complaint with other like spaceship style shooters or flight simulators is you want to see what you're flying towards. You just don't want to be like in the vastness, black space there. Oh yeah, I can see twinkling stars and a couple planets. Like I want to put me in a different environment. Let me see some other stuff. And that's what this game does. And that is my highest praise of the game. But I do want to take an appreciative long glance at everything they are showing me. They've taken time to make all the, like the Star Destroyers and all the ships and the suns and the clouds and the nebulas and the whatever. Like, right, I want to look at it and I can't. I'm only able to see out of one window in my ship. Yeah. And that is it. And to me, that's a big drawback.
Well, and I think one of my favorite moments so far of the game is actually when you first climb into your X-Wing fighter, and there's that moment where you're going through your diagnostic check with all of the different parts of your console, and the windshield canopy starts to close down. I mean, it looked polished. I mean, like the reflections on the windshield look great. You got some scratch marks on there and stuff, and him being able to turn left and right and be able to check on everything that's going through kind of the pilot checklist. I thought that was fantastic. I do think that is why the virtual reality setup is the optimal experience for this game, because you can have your control. Like, for instance, like I use my Xbox controller on my PC. You know, I've been experimenting back and forth with like the keyboard and mouse setup, but also with the Xbox controller. And I could tell, regardless of which device I'm using, if I have the VR headset on, then as I'm, accelerating, decelerating, rolling, turning, whatever, I can be, in fact, like looking to my left, my right, up, down, that sort of thing. And it will actually start to track. And I think that's what my friends are geeking out about, is like, dude, like when you're in the cockpit, it is immersive because everywhere you look, and I totally agree. I think that there is kind of this sensation of having horse blinders on in terms of not being able to kind of look freely as where you want to look. Although I think that probably only is advantageous with the X-Wing fighter, because the TIE fighter, I don't believe, has windows on the side.
It doesn't, right.
Literally, they're just looking straight forward.
But that's just the TIE fighter. Other you can fly multiple ships.
Right.
So, I mean, I've gotten to the part, I've flown, there's like this other ship that you can fly. It has the TIE fighter, the wings kind of over the top of it. It's almost looking like a...
Does it look like they're like goes straight on the sides and then it kind of comes in on the top and bottom?
Not the bottom. The bottom is completely exposed.
Okay.
It's literally just like the top, and it's supposed to be like a support ship.
Okay.
And so I've flown that, and then there's actually like a second seat, like someone sitting next to me. And so I can hear them talking to me, but I can't like look over at them. I'm looking only straight, and that's it. So even with, I mean, I flew the A-Wing also, and the A-Wing is my favorite ship in Star Wars.
Yeah, A-Wing is cool.
And the A-Wing has a more, I guess, circular cockpit. It's not square and flat like the X-Wing. And so I think that's really cool. And all the instruments, like the instrument cluster is more, I guess, below you. Not below you, but more level, I guess. And so I think, well, I have this open cockpit. I want to look around me, and I still can't. But so I guess it is what it is. But I don't know. To me, that's the biggest complaint. That takes away from the fun factor for me.
Sure. Do you think it is a big detractor or just more of a nitpick?
To me, it's a big detractor, because when I play other games like Ace Combat, you can look at around you like no problem, and it's actually really cool because sometimes you get really close to your wingmen and women, and you can see like the ship is really close to you. It looks like something straight out of Top Gun, and it's really cool, and it gives you this different perspective of where you're flying to and like the land, or if you see some big crater coming up, and so it's a completely different way to play the game. It's almost like you're playing, I don't know, Forza, for example, and you're in the car. That's a totally different experience than like playing like outside the car.
You are absolutely right. And that's one of the things I thought about too as I was playing is I thought of that when I was trying to figure out if I could get a camera perspective that was behind the spacecraft instead of being in the cockpit. And I hope that there is some sort of option. There must be some sort of option for that. I would find it kind of odd if you're playing the game entirely with the only option of being in the cockpit. And I understand that, like, yeah, they want it to be immersive, but at the same time, there is a certain quality that other Star Wars games I've played where you're in an X-Wing or a TIE fighter or whatever sometimes when you go behind the spacecraft as you're flying, that is its own kind of cinematic experience too, because you get to actually see more of what's going on around you. And it reminds me of the movies when you see those amazing space opera dogfighting sequences. So I'm keeping a positive outlook on that. Maybe I haven't found the right button to do to bring it out of there, or maybe Motive will implement some sort of simple firmware update or whatever for the game. But I do hope that they put that in there. I would like to talk a bit about the UI within the ships, because I am pretty happy with how they had everything thought out. It was a very methodical process of what each one of those control panels do. And also in terms of your interactive experience as a gamer, because these ships, I mean, it's not just like you go out and you start shooting at people and whatnot. I mean, there is a lot that you have to absorb up front in terms of how do you speed up, slow down, how do you roll, how do you turn. If you want to put your energy more toward your shields versus your engines versus your lasers, whatever it is. Even with the shields, if you want to be able to have it be all encompassing around your ship versus put all of the efforts toward the front of the ship or the rear of the ship. And I, for one, really appreciate that. I think that makes it a much more realistic experience because you're having to bear all these things in mind. And I will say, like, it is a little daunting at first, and that is to be expected because there are quite a few different types of functionalities that you have to be aware of. But as you play, the more you play, it really does become second nature, at least for me. Was it for you?
Yeah, I had to play it. I thought I'm never going to do this. Like, I'm just going to play and, whatever happens sort of thing. And then I thought, oh, crap, I'm dying. I need to put more power towards my shield sort of thing, And so, yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I like seeing, like, this might sound kind of funny, but I really mean it, is I like seeing the hands, like, going over and, like, and adjusting stuff.
Yes, me too.
I don't want it to automatically happen when I hit the buttons. I selected the character in the beginning, and I want to see my character actually reaching out to do stuff.
Yeah.
And in a hurry. And it was funny, in one of the beginning sequences, I guess something happens, I forgot what it was, but your system jams up.
Yes.
And it literally instructs you just to mash a bunch of buttons. You're like, and like something starts to work.
It's very intuitive. Like that's something that we would all do in that situation. And I love how the game encourages you. Like, just go ahead, just try it and get it to work.
It was pretty funny. So I am getting used to it where I'm like, man, I just really this is the most intense part of the level. I just want to blow this thing up. And I go, okay, well, no one's behind me, I think. And so I'm going to convert all my power to the lasers, which they do that plenty of times in the movie. Like, okay, we need everything towards the front shield. Convert all power to the front shield.
Yeah.
And so I will do that. And, or if I'm supposed to get to a place where, it says meet up here and it's like 4,000 meters away or something like that. I'm like, screw it. All power to engines. Let's go. So anyhow, I think that's a very nice touch.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with what I've seen so far. And there are many other ships I haven't tried yet that are coming down the pipe, I'm sure, within the game. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I think, so we've already talked about the graphics side of the game. I definitely want to get you some hands-on experience with the PC version because I think you're going to be also impressed by how noticeably different the level of detail is. And my computer's not even like the latest, most powerful machine that's out there. I do think that is a bit of a drawback for me just because I don't have the latest graphics card. I don't have the latest, greatest computer. So if I put all of the graphics settings on ultra or whatever, and then the frame rate starts to suffer. I don't have like a silky smooth 60 frames per second. Or even maybe necessarily 30 frames. I think it probably stays around 30 frames and dips down to maybe like 20 frames here and there, depending on how much craziness is going on screen. I do think that it's worth noting that the game has a little bit of bugginess to it. And I don't know if you've experienced that as much on console.
Oh, it crashed the first time I started to play it, so yes.
Oh, it did it really?
It did a cool like soft reset of my PlayStation. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so that was what happened with me as well on the PC, where it didn't actually actually crash the application and brought me back to Windows. But
Mine did.
What was interesting was when it was done loading and I initiated the application, it just was stuck on that loading screen. Like I had the little loading icon in the lower right hand corner. It was there for like 4 or 5 minutes. I'm thinking it should not take this long. I don't understand what's going on. So I ended up backing out of that and restarting my comp and everything else. And then we got past that. So it's like, okay, now it's working. I guess it just needed, a reset of some sort. And there, I've noticed a few other types of complaints online of people coming into certain things. Luckily, those seem to be few and far between. It seems to be more of a loading situation or something to that effect. I have not noticed any kind of bugs or whatever during gameplay at all, which is great because that's what matters most. Oh, okay. There was a bug that is also worth mentioning for me, which is there was a saving bug where, after I played it the first time, I made it through the prologue of both the X-Wing pilot and the TIE Fighter pilot. And I was getting into the briefing and I was doing the briefing and it was getting all set up for like the first like official mission, right? So I went to bed and we came back the next day to play some more. It had not saved at all my progress. So what was funny was like I played the prologue on the PC, and then what I ended up doing in between that was I also played the prologue again on the PS4 just to do like a graphics comparison so I could kind of see what the differences between the two. I had to play through the prologue a third time in order to get back to where I was on the PC, which put me a bit more farther behind because that could have been time spent getting farther into the game. Yeah. So that was one thing where I'm like, and even when I was broadcasting, I ended up doing a broadcast the day after our normal broadcasting time, which is Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. I was on there on Thursday evening just messing around and whatnot. And I remember getting to the end of the broadcast and I was going to go to bed for the night. I'm just thinking, gosh, man, I really hope this game saves where I'm at because that would just be so sad if I had to go back to the prologue again. So I'm pretty sure, fingers crossed, that it actually did save. Because before I turned the game off, I went back to the main menu, and they do have kind of like this little progression thing of like different missions that you've accomplished that you can go back to and that sort of thing. So I'm going to have positive thoughts that it'll work.
I had a bug where every once in a while, the enemies will, like if they're close to an object, they'll just stop and they won't do anything. And like it's not just them shutting their engines down because they're like flickering a little bit. Like they're stuck in one spot and they're just flickering. And I'll go, great, I'll just, easy prey, whatever. Okay, done. And, nice shot. Thank you, wingman. Yeah. And that happens not all the time, but that definitely does happen. We're like, oh, that's happening again. Okay, whatever. I'll just take him out. Yay me.
One of the things I would like to do is to replay X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars games for games in general. But also when it comes to PC, that was like one of the most respected dogfighting styled shooters when it came to like aerial combat, whether it was a space shooter or just anything in general that involves being up in the air or up in the sky. So that is hopefully available. Maybe I'll look on Steam and see if it's still there. I would like to kind of do a cross analysis of the two games just to see how far along we've come. But I will say, despite that game coming out back in the 90s, looking at this particular title, I did get some of those same feelings I had when I played that game. And that is a very good thing because I think that the developers over at Motive have been pretty vocal in communicating their desire to want to live up to those types of expectations. It's like their game is almost like a love letter to X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. And so far, like I said, with the limited amount I've played so far, I think that they've done that. I think that you can tell they've put a lot of time and effort into making more of this focused space dogfighting game. I did have a few observations and some critiques about the game itself. First of all, I noticed that there are an awful lot of female characters in the game. When I was thinking about like how the game starts off, you have an Imperial Commodore Sloan, who the captain is talking to before he goes out and gets in his TIE fighter. When you get to the Rebel Alliance, you are introduced to the Rebellion X-Wing mechanic who says hi, very nice and everything. And then she introduces you to some of your other X-Wing pilots who are also female. You have, I don't remember their names, but like one of them it's an alien. It has like that reddish skin and that cyborg arm.
Right.
And then you have the other female that is like kind of a yellow tone skin with the face paint, like, or tattoos on the face. And then even I can't remember how do you pronounce his name, but basically the guy who defects, Captain Yavez or Javes or something like that. His the TIE fighter who's accompanying him is also female. So there's a very predominantly female presence so far that I've noticed in the game. Not a bad thing at all, but just it was kind of interesting to me going, that's kind of interesting.
Right.
And the only type of male characters that I've witnessed so far are, so you have the captain who defects. And then if you decide to create a character that happens to be male, but you don't really see yourself
or hear yourself, right?
And then some of the other characters, like there's a Bosk I can't remember how to pronounce it, Bosk or Bask. But he's kind of more of a lizard type of character, decidedly more of the male species, but it's not a human. It's not a humanoid character in that regard. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I think that it probably is in alignment with some of the trajectory that Star Wars has been taking over the last, I would say, several years. One other nitpick that I have with the game, it's not a big thing, but it's a small nitpick. And that is that the aliens that you come across in Star Wars Squadrons all seem to speak English. And that was something that when I think back to the Star Wars films, particularly the original trilogy of episodes 4, 5, and 6, what I found to be so neat in terms of it being more of a rich, like kind of intergalactic cultural experience is the fact that most, if not all, of the alien species had their own dialect. They had their own language that they spoke. And it didn't matter if it was Jabba the Hutt or if it was Chewbacca or, my goodness, even I can't remember the name of the alien that was with Lando Calrissian in the Millennium Falcon and Return of the Jedi. You could look at the Ewoks. You could look at the Jawas. There were several different kinds of aliens throughout the ecosystem that is Star Wars. And it just made it that much more of an authentic experience. Now, you did have certain aliens like Yoda, for instance, who is able to speak English. And I think that's fine to have a few of those, sprinkled throughout, right? Because obviously the humans were also able to learn the languages of these other aliens to a certain degree. Like, for instance, Han knew what Chewie was saying at all times. And my hope is that as I continue playing through Star Wars Squadrons, that I will come across additional characters that are of these different types of worlds and do in fact speak their own native tongue, because I appreciate being able to look down and see the subtitles appear and find out what it is that they have to say. So again, not a big thing, but just something I noticed, how all the different creatures that I've come across so far all speak perfect English. One of the other things too, in terms of the character creation that I wanted to cover is, first of all, I appreciate how you can customize your pilot a bit. Even though you don't really see your pilot when you're playing the game, I still think it's fun. And I love the variety and the diversity within the options that you have available. One of the things that I wish you could do, though, is I wish there were options like when you select one of the portraits, to be able to go in and further refine that portrait. So like being able to adjust the nose, adjust the brow, the ears, the chin, all that kind of stuff. That's become kind of standardized. I'm surprised that they didn't actually have that incorporated. I was thinking, oh, this one looks cool. I wonder what else I could do. Oh, that is literally it.
I'm just choosing that person as is.
Yeah. And I would say, as a critique, like all of, like, if I look at like it doesn't matter on both sides, but like if I look at the Rebel Alliance options, for example, all of them look great except for the white guy. And it's the weirdest thing because I feel compelled to just make a note of this. It's not just with this game, but it's with other games too, like Forza Horizon 4 is like this too.
Oh, that's a prime example.
It's weird to me, like how all of these different nationalities are represented and they all look terrific, like just really, really cool. And then you get to the Caucasian male and you're like, what on earth?
Like the most random person that could
yeah, like in this situation, you're looking and you can tell they're trying to go for that 70s kind of look, sort of, but he ends up looking more like a computer programmer or I don't know, like it's just, he doesn't look like how I imagined. Like if I think of a Caucasian male in Star Wars, I think of like Wedge Antilles, or I think of Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. And it's funny because I look at that particular archetype that they have in there. I'm like, dude, you'd be the one like fueling up the X-Wing.
Right. You'd be the one like coordinating where like my light speed trajectory is going to go to get to like point A to point B. I don't.
Yeah, he'd be like one of those guys that's in the map room, like doing the little laser pointer. Oh, he's going to this planet.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
And in 3 seconds across the entire galaxy at this trajectory, he's going to land up right here.
Imperial troops have entered the base. Imperial troops have entered. That would be him. So anyway, it's a minor gripe, but it was just looking at it, I'm thinking,
that's what I have to choose. Okay, I can't make any alterations at all.
And maybe it's what the kiddos are into these days. Maybe I'm just old and the current trends and fashion statements and everything else are a little newer than what I was doing back when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
But anyway, still really cool that you have it. I really love the selection of pilot portraits, by the way, on the Imperial side. Lots of really cool.
Yeah, the Imperial's definitely gotten more, yeah.
One of the things that I think is available, I don't know if you have to get farther into the game or if you have to become part of like the EA access. What is EA Play Access or something like that? But I do think there are more portraits that are available. I just am not sure how to unlock them. I'm not sure how they come about. But it looks like there is going to be even more that you can choose from, which is cool.
Which is fine. Yeah. I mean, not like you even see your character anyway. So
exactly.
At some point, you're like, great. Sort of. Anyway, not going to see him again after this one screen of selection.
Pivoting over to the music, I love hearing John Williams' score. It is amazing to me. And it really, it's amazing and it's not, because it's amazing in the sense that like every time I hear it, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's not amazing in the sense that, of course it's good. It's John Williams.
Right.
But like when it came to playing the game, there were so many instances, like for instance, like when you're in the TIE fighter and you're kind of going about and you're flying by like the huge Star Destroyers and the other capital class ships and stuff, hearing his music play while you're doing this. And again, this is one of the best looking Star Wars titles yet. I love how like we're getting better, and like with every Star Wars game that comes out, it keeps leapfrogging over the last efforts, regardless of platform. And I got chills, man. Like as you're just cruising along and you're going by, like for instance, like one of those huge Star Destroyers, and they're not shooting at you or whatever, but you're in awe of the impressive size of the ship and how small you are and how well thought out this kind of ecosystem is in the game. And you hear the music playing. I mean, it really ties everything together. Did you find that as well?
Yeah, I did. So I'll touch on the music, and then I will touch on how big and small you are compared, because I do have something to say about that. The music I'm glad how they selected what they selected and implemented what they implemented, because I remember back in like Rebel Assault how they would continually play like the most notable music whenever you would play, and I got tired of hearing like the same song and I'm like, okay, I played the game 26 times. It's like I played the soundtrack repeat, and eventually I just want to go turn the music off. I don't want to get tired of this music. In this game, the
variety is great.
Variety, thank you. The variety is very fitting for the mission that you are doing. So they actually put a lot of thought into it, which I respect. I did, though, because of what I remember from Rebel Assault, I did turn the music portion down. And I did turn the sound effects up.
Yeah.
So just because of what I remember years ago from Rebel Assault. But I will say, like, in comparison to scale, it's different when you watch the cutscenes and then you're flying around the ships, because the ships, like the Star Destroyers, they do feel, to me, smaller when you're flying around them than when actually you're watching a cutscene like the shit, like the TIE fighters are flying out of it. You're like, oh yeah, man, those things are so small compared to the Star Destroyer. And then you're flying around it and it seems like the Star Destroyer is a lot smaller or you're a lot bigger, one of the two, but it definitely feels not to scale, I guess, in my perspective.
Well, wait, which ones are not to scale?
Like, for example, like just the big hangar ships, like the Star Destroyer, for example, or if like I forgot what the one is called, but on the Rebel side, because like I like flying around and dodging all these obstacles and whatnot, and I'll fly around the ship, and the ship it's still large, but it's not massive. And you would think that it would be massive because they're storing a ton of these ships that you're flying inside of it. Plus they're housing thousands of people who are working on the ship, and all their lodging and whatnot and whatever. So I just would think that they would be even larger in the game than they are.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at some of those. I know that on the Rebel side, they have the Carillion cruisers. I don't know if that's what you're referring to or not, but I believe, yeah, I think, well, it's difficult to know, like wow, I don't have like a very good visual on, like if I look at a size chart of all the different ships that exist within the Rebel Alliance or even the Empire itself. I feel like the Star Destroyers are a good size. I feel like they're in a correct scale. I don't, yeah, but in terms, of the Rebel side, I'll have to take a look at that. But to me, it's not a big detractor. I love being able to fly past them and doing things.
Sure.
And I, for one, wanted to echo your sentiment earlier on about how this game could have very easily fallen into a trap of just being a trap. Yeah, excellent. It could have very easily fallen into the trap of just going into outer space and all you see are twinkling stars and you're doing dogfighting. And from what I have experienced so far, that is definitely not the case. Every level that you are playing in is very unique and exclusive unto itself. I really like the thoughtfulness and creativity that has gone into these environments. Like you said, the environments really are the star of the show, I must say. The ships themselves look terrific too, but the environments really are, man, they're cool. They're
gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. And like I said, like they're creative in the sense where like you get there and you're kind of like in this sense of wonderment because you're like, man, that looks so cool. Like, and you know that they've done like all kinds of research with NASA and with like what is out there and what could be out there, that sort of thing. So very cool with that. Did you have any concluding thoughts on this, Steve?
Actually, I kind of wanted to go over, I made a list.
Oh, good.
I made a list of my pros and cons.
Okay, let's do it.
So what I like, the sound for the most part, because I mean, when we watch Star Wars movies, and I kept on saying like, okay, when I see the Millennium Falcon, I want to hear those thrusters. You know, if we're gonna put the pedal to the metal, I want to hear something, you know. And in this, yeah, you're adjusting all power to the engines, and then you can hear them, and you can hear them pretty good, and they sound good. The lasers also. I mean, you're gonna be doing a full lot of shooting. And so I would hope that the lasers would sound awesome, and they do. And so shooting is great. And I like all the button switches and clicks and stuff. And I like if you blow up something and you're actually really close to it, you got like little particles what kind of bounce off your canopy. That's really cool. And I really like that. So the environments I already talked to you about, the music, the shield laser engine adjustments, all that is better. Running into things. I hate other shooter, spaceship shooter games, if I tap, just barely, I'm going as slow as I can possibly go, and I tap one thing, it's, you just blow up. I'm like, come on. And so I like that, if in case you just kind of tap something, your shield takes a hit, but it's not game over all of a sudden.
I really appreciate that too. Really quickly, I just have to tell you there, when I was playing through one of my 3 trips through the prologue, there was an instance where the captain's talking to me as we're going through the Imperial side of things, and we're making our way toward the first look at a Star Destroyer. As it's happening, one of the AI controlled TIE fighters that are coming toward me totally comes right at me and just drills me. Luckily I didn't blow up, but I was just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, go ahead, keep going.
So I like the ability to repair your ship too, because you've seen that happen plenty of times. Like, R2, can you repair the blah, 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 and whatever it is, and then R2's doing his best, trying to repair your ship. I thought that was a very, very nice touch. So the stuff that I didn't really care for, I mentioned the cutscenes. We won't have to go over that. No third-person view. I can't look. Blah blah blah. Okay, radar. I want to talk about the radar because you see in the films they do have a radar lock, and they are shooting lasers, and the lasers will shoot in front of you, and then when the radar locks, the lasers will adjust and shoot towards your. That doesn't happen with this. In fact, they train you. You have to lead what you're shooting into. What you're firing at. And so the radar lock is mainly used for missiles, which I don't know. I never really found that to be fitting in a Star Wars universe, really. I mean, maybe yes, maybe no. But
the X-Wings are outfitted with different types of missiles. The things you see in there are accurate to the canon of Star Wars. And one of the things I found that was really nice about the whole locking on mechanism is that you can get overwhelmed very easily when you're in the midst of a dogfight, and just being able to press the A button or the X button if you're on PS4, it will tell you, oh, here's the nearest target that you can go for, which is great because then it gives me something to zero in on, as opposed to just, I don't know where to do next. There's so much happening. I feel like that one pilot in was Return of the Jedi. He's like, there's too many of them.
Right. So I remember they have proton torpedoes or whatever they're called, that they blew up the I get that, but I just wanted the radar. I mean, when they're blowing up stuff on the Millennium Falcon, they have radar. When they're blowing up stuff on the TIE fighters, they have radar, whatever, whatnot. So I just would hope that they would have it in this. It's not a big gripe, but it's something that I was kind of hoping for since it's there. Or since your radar is available. Let's see. So I would say the dogfighting, it's cool, but it definitely feels sluggish, in my opinion. I know the controls are a bit different than, say, Ace Combat, but it seems like, okay, someone's to the right, I got to turn to the right. Okay, molasses turn. And then you would watch one of the movies, and they're really dogfighting. They're turning, and true, it's outer space, and it's not like you're
in the atmosphere.
Exactly. So maybe that is a component to it, but it definitely, I would like there to be an agileness, if that's even a word, to the chips. There was that part where they go, "Oh, we want you to practice space drifting."
More agility, I think, is what you're thinking.
Well, maybe. But for example, there's a part they say, "We want to train you on space drifting." I'm like, "Oh, this is going to take forever." And so they go as fast as you can, then cut your engines, and then make a hard turn. And I do it, and they're like, "Great job." I'm like, I just turned. I didn't feel like in my head, what they were trying to describe what I was going to do sounded amazing. And then the realistic part was nothing special.
Yeah.
And so just maneuvering all together just feels like kind of molasses. And I don't really want to, I'll get to the multiplayer and the dogfighting, but everything that I've heard of so far is that if you haven't mastered the controls, then yeah, you're going to be a fly on molasses and easy to swat, basically. Yeah. So I mentioned the bigger ships, not feeling as big as they are, and I want to say something else to that too. What would have been really cool, and this is not a huge gripe, I'm just saying, like, when they take off from the hangar of the ship and then they fly out from that opening, I want to do that. I want to get in the cockpit, turn on everything, hear my engines fire up, and then have some lift off, and then I want to actually fly out of the ship.
I wonder if that will happen in the next part of the game.
Yeah. And I guess lastly, what I would say is that I think we should be able to take out more turrets. Like if there's
there will be, as you get into the game, there's going to be other opportunities
because they keep on saying, some of the turrets I can definitely see, but it's impossible to take them out. And so they're like, oh, don't get too close because the Star Destroyer is gonna, or the whatever, is gonna kill you. And I'm like,
shield,
well, I can take out the turrets and I'll zigzag and dodge the laser fire, but I want to take out the turret, and therefore I eliminate that threat.
Yeah,
and then like lasers will just like automatically come out of somewhere of the body of the Star Destroyers. So we're like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of a gripe. Like I could just take out the turrets and then they'll stop firing. Why do I?
You're putting too much thought into it, Steve.
But in the movies they do. Well, they take out the turrets
on the Death Star. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, but they still do it.
And I don't even know if there is a Death Star in this particular game because this game takes place right after episodes 4, 5, and 6. So. Okay. So, did you have any concluding thoughts?
I will say that the lasting appeal of the game will really be determined on if they decide to put, microtransactions or DLC, what the DLC actually is. Because, like, after the first night of playing, I was pretty much done with it. I wanted to come back and play it a second time, but I wasn't in a hurry. Like Ghost of Tsushima, there's not enough time in the day. Like I know I have to go to sleep, and that's why I stopped playing, is because I know I need sleep. But if I could, if I had a vacation and I didn't care, I would stay up. I would keep on playing, and I think that is a little bit telling. That all being said, the price point of the game, I think, is perfect because if it was...
It's a very fair price.
Oh, it's a very fair price. So, yeah, I would think if I paid $60 for it, that would definitely be too much. Because I paid $40 for it, I'm like, thank you.
It's refreshing, honestly.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys put some thought into it. Thank you very much. And I would definitely recommend picking it up.
Yeah.
For $40. I mean, good deal.
Yeah, for me, I'm really enjoying the game so far. I'm very much looking forward to seeing more. I think it's more of a result that I am a larger Star Wars fan in general than you are, and and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I just think that for me, I tend to eat up a lot of stuff that is quality Star Wars, and I, for one, am always wanting more Star Wars games to come out. And I think what's been fun when I look back, just at like the various console releases, there have been a string really of really high quality Star Wars games that dates back to the 16-bit days. And I think it's fantastic that we continue to have folks who just have a love for Star Wars. And this is no exception. And I think for me, I'm going to have to experience the game in its entirety before I can start to think about what I'd like to see for a sequel or maybe another game like it. But when I see games like this, my go-to is always I want to fight against the Death Star. Like that is such the iconic space opera dogfight. And other games in the past have done that, and it has been a lot of fun to be able to go through and experience it. And I just think when it comes to the next-gen consoles as well as the next-gen PCs, I think that the time is right to be able to come up with something that is very much in that episode 4, 5, and 6 canon. And I think the closest thing that we've seen kind of to that recently anyway is actually through the movie Rogue Squadron, because there was so much of that movie that obviously the movie takes place between episodes 3 and 4 of the actual series of films. But I loved how it was unmistakably set in like that kind of 70s time frame where you had like the big sideburns and you had the 70s haircuts and you had the old school stormtroopers and you had all of the different types of like, you know, the AT-ATs that were more in like a prototype form versus some of the classic spaceships that we all come to know and love and everything that was going on. And it was like, yes, like there's something very special about how all of that wrapped up from episode 4, 5, and 6. It's so that time period. And I think that aids a lot in the overall visual as well as the experience. So I just hope that moving forward, we will be able to have levels like that perhaps follow more of the storyline where you get to take control of the Millennium Falcon and do certain things, or you can, you know, basically take little excerpts out of the films and be able to turn those into levels. But having said that, what I have seen so far, I really enjoy it. I really appreciate, like I said earlier, the thoughtfulness of how you control each one of the ships. I like how there's quality voice acting. The music sounds terrific. I'm not sure if I would engage as much in the multiplayer side of things, because games like this, it's like there's like one person when you're playing multiplayer who's like an ace. And they go through and they just like decimate all the rest of us. And it's one thing to play against the AI because they're easier. But you put like 50 human beings, 50 gamers in a multiplayer map. And it's like everybody's doing left turns all day because everybody's trying to get behind each other and that sort of thing. And I think there is some fun to be had. And again, I'm going to reserve my judgment on this particular game until after I've actually experienced the multiplayer. But other games that are the same genre have this type of problem. And to your point that you made earlier, I do think that it is an ongoing challenge to adequately give the sensation of speed when you are in the spacecraft, especially when you're in outer space, because there just aren't a lot of...
The physics are a bit different with no gravity, right?
Well, no gravity, but also there just aren't a lot of objects that you whiz by. And so it's very difficult to understand, I'm going really fast. I think that in terms of older titles that are kind of in the same vein, it's almost like they fall victim to feeling like you're constantly cruising at 45 miles per hour in the air when in fact you should be going a whole lot faster. And I think that part of that has to do with the limitations of what the hardware can do performance-wise, right? I mean, that's just to be expected. But I do look forward to seeing what other levels are in this particular title, because there are like these brief moments where all of a sudden it's like, woo, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm going faster. This is cool. And my hope is that we'll be able to experience more of that. But I'm very thankful that Motive decided to take a chance on this. I definitely wish them luck in terms of the sales that they make on the title, and perhaps they'll be able to make some DLC for this game as well as making a sequel. And I'm just glad that after Star Wars Fallen Jedi, which Respawn did through the EA publisher, that we are now getting another Star Wars title from the EA staple that is also quality. So hats off to them. That wraps up this episode of Joygasm. Make sure you tune in next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode, we invite you to check out patreon.com/Joygasm, which is spelled JOYGASM, and consider becoming a monthly contributor. You'll get exclusive perks and early access to the show, not to mention it really helps us continue doing what we love to do. Also, you can follow us on social media and YouTube. Just do a search for Joygasm TV. Last but not least, search Joygasm TV on Twitch to see us stream our gaming adventures live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you next week.